And now it's time for another edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam. With your host, the Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Magic Voice, the 12th Man Fan Jam, and welcome one and all for a very special off-season March Madness edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam. I am your host for the program, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity, and we want to thank you so much for making us part of your Seahawk post-Super Bowl off-season fix as we discuss the early stages of the off-season for your Super Bowl XLVIII champion, Seattle Seahawks. So sit back.
All hail Moses.
Grab a desired beverage and sit of your choice. And remember, brackets are made for busting. You had no idea I had that kind of power, did you? We have so much to discuss on the program today, and luckily, I am never alone. No, the 12th Man Fan Jam posse is here from around the world to light our way along the festivities with a virtual madness of fun and information. First, there's my partner in crime, the yin to my yang. He is marching in direct from merry old England. You know him as Suffolk Blue on SeahawkBlue.com. We know him as Matt.
Good morning, Moses. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you, sir?
I am pretty damn good, actually, to be honest. Pretty damn good. Bored of the off-season, though.
It's springtime, so get excited about that.
We've got another week to go here. We're always a week behind you guys.
See, I always heard it's like 1997 over there when it's 2014 here. But
yeah, you did that joke last time. It still wasn't funny.
Yeah, well, I'll keep trying. One of these days we'll get a laugh. We also have our own news hound. You can find his weekly Seahawk editorials, the 12th Man editorials, each week on SeahawkSal.com. You know him as Shadowhawk, and from Washington State, we know him as Will.
Thank you, Moses. Good evening, everybody. And I come to you with a bit of a heavy heart this evening. This will be my first podcast without a cat curled up in my lap.
Yes. And how old was your cat?
She would have been 17 years old today, actually.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Well, it's very sad news, and we're sorry to hear about the passing of your cat. And I know.
So you guys better be funny because I need a chuckle.
Well, we're going to try. We'll do what we can. We'll dedicate this show to her.
Moses, send him the pictures.
Yes. Send us pictures, and we'll dedicate. Will, what was her name?
Lucy Gray.
Lucy Gray.
Oh.
This show is the official Lucy Gray edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam. And we
all hail Lucy Gray.
That wonderful voice you hear in the background is not the voice of God. No, it's our special guest this evening. His eyewitness to Seahawk home games entitled 12th Fan Views can be found all over the internet, on Twitter, on Facebook, at SeahawkBlue.com, and on Seahawks.com itself. You may know him as Psycho Babbler. We know him as a dear friend and a resident smokeologist. He never met a bong he didn't like. He's never, ever exhaled. He's Chuck McGowan.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Chuck, welcome to the show, man. I'm so glad we finally got you on this show.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Love listening to you guys' show.
Well, we love listening to your show as well, especially the 12th Fan View that you can see on Seahawks.com. And like I said, all over the internet. We're going to talk more to Chuck at halftime about how he does what he does and how that all works. But first, before we do that, we've got to go through a little bit of how the show is going to be run, this March Madness edition of the show. So let's run over how the format goes. The 12th Man Fan Jam show, if you've never listened, welcome. It's divided into fourth quarters, just like a real NFL football game. In the first quarter, will catch us up on the news of anything that's happened in the offseason when we've been too busy filling out our brackets for March Madness. In quarter two, we're going to talk about our losses in free agency, the Seahawks' losses in free agencies, and people that we've lost so far at this point. At halftime, we're going to have a special live interview with Chuck in the 12th Fan View. We're going to talk about how he does what he does, why he does what he does, and kind of get Chuck's view of last season, of course, with the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. The third quarter, we'll talk about who Seattle has signed so far and who they've come close to signing. In the fourth quarter, we'll talk about the immediate future of the Seattle Seahawks and who may or may not be coming near you in a Seahawk uniform. I want to remind you at this time you can always send us emails. Let us know what you think of the show. Please do. Just say hi. You like us, you hate us, whatever. We'll take all kinds. We're not too proud to beg. And we'd love to hear from you. So please write down that email right there and send us off a message. Okay, enough of that. Let's get right back to the show here. And it's time to start with news. Yes, news to take you around the NFL world while you were too busy crying about Duke completely destroying your bracket in the NCAA men's basketball tournament. It's our own Shadowhawk, Will. Will, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing all right. Actually, a quick note before I jump into NFL news. You heard about that $1 billion bracket challenge?
Oh, yes, very much.
As of this evening, everybody is eliminated.
Ta-da!
Warren Buffett is not sweating anymore.
I don't think they ever were sweating, to be honest.
No, he makes that in a drop of a hat.
I think I read real quick a non-NFL, non-Seahawks story. I believe ESPN, and of course, they're a trusted source. We'll talk about that later. But ESPN had figured out over 9 septillion combinations to the brackets. So there was really a small chance anyone was going to get that $1 billion. That's worse than a lottery.
Yeah, but you don't have to buy a ticket, so.
That's true. Well, Will, what do you got for us in the news this evening?
Well, Moses, I thought I'd start off with a free agent who ended up signing with another team because he felt his original team's offer was a slap in the face. And I'm talking, of course, about free agent quarterback Terrell Brown, late of the 49ers, now an Oakland Raider.
Wait, who?
Brown said after signing with the Raiders, the 49ers offer, quote, wasn't what I wanted and was to me more of a slap in the face. What they offered me definitely wasn't what I wanted, definitely wasn't worth my value of what I've done in this league and how well I played these past 3 or 4 years. The funny thing about Terrell Brown, or maybe not funny, was he was the player, if you recall, that ended up forfeiting a $2 million bonus, $2 million actually out of his base salary, by not participating in the offseason workout program, and the 49ers never told him. So you just got to get the feeling that San Francisco really hates this guy for some reason.
Who the hell is Terrell Brown? Anybody?
I don't know, but he's not getting what he wanted.
Poor guy, slap in the face. I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of Terrell Brown jerseys floating around the NFL. I don't know. Good grief.
And then to top it all up, he's going to Oakland.
He's go to the Raiders.
I'll show you guys.
From bad to worse.
He can stand like across the bay and flip off San Francisco, right? Yeah.
Even Sharp's going, oh no.
Well,
to play for a team that bad in a stadium worse.
I saw the funniest quote today on Twitter about Matt Schaub, and I wish I could give the person credit who said this. But the quote was, when they heard Matt Schaub was getting traded for a draft pick, he said, I wouldn't trade a bag of monkey balls for Matt Schaub, let alone a draft pick.
Yeah, but if you look at their offensive coordinator, Greg Olsen, he says he was number 1 target from day one. Jesus, you set your targets low. Do you know what I mean?
And sure took him long enough. That was their number 1 target.
But now Terrell Brown's in there to, competition.
Oh.
Yeah, commitment to excrement.
Oh my God. Terrell Brown. He's perfect for the Raiders, isn't he? This guy.
Oh, yeah. Somebody who nobody's heard of who thinks he got cheated out of a previous contract and is now going to football purgatory. Oh, yeah.
He's a perfect match. Oh, my God.
Well, at least we found one guy that Matt Schaub won't throw a pick 6 to next year.
I don't know. The way he throws them, he might.
That's true. At least in practice.
Possible.
Get some practice, Oh, my God. Oh, Will, I don't know if you can top that. I love free agency. These guys go in there and think that they're worth $10 million, and they get like $2 million, and they're so slap in the face. Oh.
Well, Moses, I'm going to move on from here from a now current Raider to a former Raider, namely Bo Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
I know Bo.
Yeah, well, Bo knows 2 sports, and He had some advice for Russell Wilson recently after hearing about Wilson's brief sojourn with the Texas Rangers. Don't do it. Stick with what got him in the headlines, not baseball, Jackson said. 25 or 30 years ago when I did it, I'm not trying to say anything negative about other athletes, but the talent pool wasn't that deep. In this day and age with all the high-tech training and everything, if you try and concentrate on two sports, I guarantee you're going to ride the bench in both because the talent is that deep. So if what he's saying is true, there will never be another Bo Jackson. And you know what? I'm just fine with Wilson concentrating on football. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm A-okay with that. Yeah,
No
I'm
comment.
A-okay on football.
But, Bo Jackson, the thing that he did was able to be an all-star at both sports. That, to me,
He was
is
incredible.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
may be the best athlete I've ever seen in my lifetime was Jackson, what he was
Mhm.
able to do. And it's just
Yeah.
a shame that his football career had to end so quickly.
My cousin and I made him strike out 4 times in one game one night. Way back in the Kingdom days. We were up in the second level. There was nobody in the stadium in those days. And so we were just on him all game, yelling down at him, "Hey, Bo. Hey, Bo. Daylight come and me wanna go home. Hey, Bo." And he struck out 4 times in the game. So we said the next night, we went back the next night, and he put one just under the facade of the second deck, about 3 or 4 seats away from us, because we went and sat in the same place. So after that, we shut up.
He was aiming for you.
Yeah, after that, we shut up.
Oh man. Yeah, he was
Well,
Well, and
amazing.
of course, Bo Jackson was the ultimate Tecmo Bowl player too. I mean,
yes.
you had the Raiders. You just ran Bo Jackson all game, and you were fine.
Absolutely. There's a YouTube video of a guy running that Bo Jackson Tecmo Bowl 99 yards and on every play. He took him all the way down the end zone and then took him all the way to the touchdown. The other side. Bo Jackson was crazy on Tecmo Bowl. A crazy player. Deion Sanders was fairly decent as a baseball player. They said he had totally different demeanor at baseball than he did football. Of course, football he was a showboater, but being close to the Reds and being kind of a Reds fan, I knew that he was totally different as a Reds player. He was a lot more, and I don't know how he was with the Braves, but when he came to Cincinnati to play for the Reds, he was the first one at batting practice, the last one to leave, and he said, "I had to work at baseball." And he was okay at baseball. He was never an all-star at baseball. But he's probably the second closest thing we've had to Bo Jackson, I would think.
Yeah, and I think Jackson's right. I think we'll never see anything like that again.
I don't think so either. And that's like you said, Russell, I don't think Russell's doing any of this seriously anyway. And
he can't hit the curveball.
Yeah. He's like
the Mariners could always sign him.
A good indication will be if you do start seeing players do that, you'll just know that Goodell has managed to destroy football once and for all.
Absolutely.
Gosh.
Part of the master plan of Goodell, the evil Goodell. I agree. Will, what else you got for us?
Well, Moses, I am happy to report that our long national nightmare is finally over. Richie Incognito has returned to Twitter.
I knew he was just cut this poor bastard. Oh.
Kids love it.
Well, the last time we heard from Richie, he was checking himself into an undisclosed facility for an undisclosed mode of therapy after taking a baseball bat to his own Ferrari.
We had that very story, did we not, Will? Yeah.
What's that?
We had that very story, did we not? On our show.
Yes, we did.
You brought that show in.
These things just keep writing themselves.
I know. It's amazing.
But his Twitter message says, quote, "I missed you guys. Thanks goes out to my family and friends for the tremendous amount of support. Looking forward to getting back to work ASAP." Yeah, don't hold your breath.
But he's got to go through.
Yeah,
he's got to be approved by the NFL.
We'll be looking for
isn't he?
you.
Yeah, he's going to be approved by the NFL and all sorts of stuff, isn't he? Before he can even think about it, that dude's care's over.
Of course,
I hope
ASAP.
so.
ASAP for him means as soon as I can punish someone. So he's going to make.
But apparently he's gone to three different, or I think it's 3 or 4 different rehab clinics for substance abuse. I mean, how many rehab clinics do you need to get rid of a substance? Chuck, any idea?
Obviously, at least one more.
Actually, yes.
Oh, there you go.
Wonder if that Pat O'Day guy can help with that sort of thing too.
Christ's sake, don't give him John Moffat's telephone number.
You don't need your regular treatments.
Oh my God.
Hey everybody, this is Pat O'Day. I used to book Jimi Hendrix back in the day.
Oh my God, we've lost total control. All right. I have one final story before we move on at the end of the first quarter. And it's kind of really, it's got a little bit of everything. This one's got a little football. It's got a little basketball. Twitter is a wonderful thing, and a lot of players are on Twitter. And I enjoy reading what the players do in their personal life that they share. Like the other day, Doug Baldwin was watching Star Wars with his brother. My life was so much fuller after knowing that. But anyway, Roddy White of the Atlanta Falcons was talking about basketball in the NCAA. And someone said, hey, how far do you think Duke's going to go this year? Of course, he said championship. And then this guy named Dylan Holt wrote to Roddy White. He tweeted, Mercer's going to beat Duke in the first round. And Roddy White tweeted back to Hoyt, if Mercer beats Duke, I'll give you season tickets, 50-yard line first row. Guess what happened last night? Mercer beat Duke.
Actually, that was this morning.
Oh, yeah. Mercer beat Duke, and now Roddy White owes this guy tickets. But now what I've seen the latest is that Roddy White basically just kind of said, he's a Bears fan, so I'm giving him Bears tickets, and that's it.
I'm done with this bet.
Yeah, I'm done with this bet or something stupid like that. So that's
whatever.
Listen out on the bet. Come on, Roddy, be a man. You made the bet. You were stupid enough to say it. I think you should have to do it.
Oh yeah, I mean, come on, just own up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make a bet, man. You pay up.
Especially on Twitter.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that furniture store down around the Seattle area that offered to what was it? Oh yeah, if you bought furniture the week before the Super Bowl and somebody ran the opening kickoff of either the first or third quarters back for a touchdown, that furniture would be given to you for free, and they would refund your money. And the guy honored the bet. It cost him nearly $72,000, but he comped all the furniture sold that week when Harvin ran that kickback.
Oh, that's awesome! I thought I was
you pay for insurance for stuff like that. You're all good.
Yeah,
Geico. Geico's got that covered. Don't worry.
Right. See, you would say Geico with that English accent of yours and that stupid little
it's Geico.
lizard.
Geico Insurance.
That's you. See, you are the Geico guy.
Yeah, I'm just up the road from where he's from. He's from Essex. I'm in Suffolk, just up the road. It's Geico.
Geico. You are the lizard.
Thanks. Cheers.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the caveman.
Caveman.
I don't even know if you see that in the caveman commercial. Do you know the caveman commercial? No.
No.
Okay. All right. Well,
so easy.
Hey, guess what?
It's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
That's the end of the first quarter. We've done our news. Will, thank you so much for catching us up on all of the wonderful news that you had.
No problem.
And we're going to take a quick station identification, come back to the second quarter, and we'll see you. We'll talk to you right after this break.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
It's payback, Russell Wilson falling way back in the draft. Turn nothing into something, still can make that straw in the gold jump. I will spin, rumple still skin in a haystack.
And now it's time for the second quarter of the 12th Man Fan Jam. Here to take you through the second quarter is once again our host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you once again, Magic Voice of the 12th Man Fan Jam. And if you made it through the first quarter, welcome to the second quarter of this special March Madness edition of your 12th Man Fan Jam. And we have a very special guest with us. Of course, we have the 12th Fan View. Chuck is here with us.
Woohoo!
And Will is here with us. And Matt is here with us.
I am indeed.
And I am here with you. So we're going to start the second quarter, and we're going to talk about free agent losses and losses from the team since the Super Bowl. When this team won the Super Bowl 43-8 and had their big party on that Wednesday, I remember telling my son, get a good look at this team as they come out of the entrance because they will never be together again. And it didn't take long before that became a reality. In fact, as we're recording this show, it's been barely a month and a half since that moment. We're getting on almost 2 months since that moment. And we've incurred a lot of losses on that team. Of course, Brandon Browner probably wasn't going to ever come back, but we have to put him on that list as a loss because he has been allowed to go out into free agency. Bruno Giacomini has also been a loss. Chris Clemens. Defensive end Chris Clemens, an integral part of that defensive line. Another integral part of that defensive line, Clinton McDonald, has been allowed to walk. Another part of that defensive line, Red Bryant, has been allowed to walk. Defensive back Walter Thurman. Backup safety Maragos. Sidney Rice, wide receiver, has been allowed to walk. And, of course, the other wide receiver, Golden Tate. Am I missing anybody, gentlemen? Have I got most of the guys that so far have officially walked?
I think that's all of them.
Apparently, yes. So, Chuck, I'm going to start with you. That's a list of 9 names. That's 9 players. And of those 9 players, almost all of them, with the exception of Maragos, were starters. And Maragos was a special teams demon. Who of those 9 are you most upset to see leave the team?
I'd have to say Golden Tate. I mean, he's the biggest playmaker of the bunch.
Yeah, he definitely is. He definitely is. Well, Will, who do you think is the biggest loss there?
Well, I would say not necessarily biggest loss, but one that we most need to do a good job in replacing. I'd just say Bruno Giacomini.
Mm-hmm.
You look at what the offensive line was like when he and Russell Okung were out, and I think this draft we got a lot of tackles. Michael Bowie's shown some promise, but whatever we do, it better work.
Yeah, that's a big area of concern for this team. Matt, who are you sad to see go the most?
Well, I suppose, emotionally speaking, I suppose Red Bryant. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just because he was the heart and soul of that line, really. And it's just going to be strange not to hear someone say Big Red, stop that play, or Big Red. It's just when you get one of those sort of emotional attachments to players. So from an emotional point of view, him in terms of placement, I think Golden Tate as well. I think his clutch play at any time is obviously going to be missed, but it's not irreplaceable.
Yeah. Well, I don't think any of them are completely irreplaceable. Red Bryant is interesting because it wasn't long ago when free agency struck in the offseason that the 2 biggest free agents on the Seahawks list were Red Bryant and Marshawn Lynch. And I remember thinking, I don't care what they do in free agency as long as they sign those 2 guys. I felt that Red at the time, that Red was the captain of this defense, and he was the heart and soul of that defense. And I don't think he is anymore. But
he isn't now.
Yeah. But at the time, he was so vitally important. Only a couple years ago, he was that important, and yet now we can sit here and go, well, we're going to miss him. He's a great guy. And most of these guys are great guys, let's be honest. They're all good people. But, we're going to miss him, but he's replaceable. Golden Tate, y'all mentioned Golden Tate. His punting, I think his punt returning was fantastic this year. If you watch the very first game, Carolina, and how many punts we had inside the 5 that he wound up bringing across the 15 to the 20. That was huge. I mean, that was huge. And a big part of that game in a defensive struggle where they were trying to pin us back under the 10-yard line, and they never could because he'd always return the ball out past the 15. And miss that.
I think, Dennis, as well, the defense has matured in the secondary. So you've got leaders now for the defense are forming in the secondary as opposed to the front line. So Red's position, not that it was to take anything away from it. I think, as I said, he was the heart of that line. But now the leadership comes from the old Thomases. The leadership comes from the Richard Shermans. It's coming from the secondary, not the front line. So it's matured.
It has. Chris Clemens, Chuck, had an amazing Super Bowl for us. Remember, didn't he have the 2 forced fumbles, I believe? Chris did?
He may have. I really don't remember, to tell you the truth.
I think he did, and he's been such a amazing... Remember who we traded for him? Anybody?
Daryl Tapp.
Yes.
Yep, the Tapster.
Yeah,
and I remember how heartbroken everybody was when we traded Daryl Tapp for, who's this Chris Clemens guy?
Absolutely.
This stinks.
I can't believe they're trading Daryl Tapp. What are they doing? They have no idea what they're doing.
Everybody was saying that for the first couple of years they were here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Repeated.
And I think with Clemens, I think it was just an age thing. I think, getting up in age, and I think they thought about it last year and just wanted to hold on to him one more year.
Well, age plus they just put his knee back together too.
Yeah,
so
right.
That's
right.
a big
Wonder
thing.
how long.
That's a big one.
You wonder how long he can go. Getting back to Golden Tate though, his punt return skills. Obviously, we're going to miss that. We need to replace that. I think on offense more than his playmaking ability. I think we're going to miss his downfield blocking. He was probably the best blocker we had as a receiver. And as a receiver, though, I mean, he would look great one game, and then he could be completely shut down, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look back at the championship game, Super Bowl, and he really didn't make a lot of plays in the playoffs at all. And he did have a habit of disappearing in some games.
It seemed like Wilson, when Wilson got in a bind, he looked for either Baldwin or Tate. It seemed like those two guys were kind of the go-to guys.
I think what Will says when he sort of disappears in a game, I think if we can look, just pretend we'd paid to him, we kept him, and we look to the next season, with the return of Percy Harvin, I think you would have seen Golden Tate almost vanish entirely.
Mm-hmm.
So we would have, if we were, I'm sort of saying as well that we were probably the front. Far be it from me to second question the front office, but the front office is probably right. You can't pay somebody $6 million a year for them to basically just not, to be vanished on the field. Do you know what I mean? If they're going to be in the shadow of Percy Harvin for the whole of the next season, you can't pay someone $6 million to do that. You just can't.
Right. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. We couldn't. I don't think we were going to pay Tate what he's going to get. Now he's over in Detroit right now, and he'll probably be good there. What about Sidney Rice? Were any of you? I know he got the big money, but I never felt disappointed when Sidney Rice was on the field. Did anyone differ with that? I know he was hurt a lot, but I don't know. I was never disappointed in what Sidney Rice gave the team. I don't know.
But I never missed him either.
Yeah.
I didn't miss him either. So it's not one of those cases where I can say, wow, I really miss not seeing Sidney on the field.
Yeah.
I think he brought in mainly because he was to pair up with Tavares Jackson at that one point or something, wasn't it? When they first came together.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great receiver, but I didn't miss him when he wasn't on the field. And he did some good plays when he was on the field. But, he's as far as going back to him now, well, I think you could probably draft a pretty good wide receiver, probably younger and obviously cheaper.
And the simple truth of the matter is you can't count on him to be on the field.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So, I mean, if they can bring him back for extremely cheap, I mean, okay, yeah, why not? There's no harm in it. But overall, like Matt's saying, I think this is such a deep draft for receivers. I think we go that route.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's move on to we got Brandon Browner. Clinton McDonald is somebody we haven't talked about. Will, what do you kind of impact do you think?
I think Chuck's back. Chuck, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Chuck!
What do you think of Sidney Rice? What was your feelings about Sidney Rice? Do you think he was good, bad, indifferent? Do you mind that he's gone? Do you want him back?
Glass jaw. He was a decent player when he was on the field, but the problem was he wasn't on the field, especially for that kind of money. And so, if he wants to come back as a cheap signee, all for that. Because he plays well.
Yeah. I agree with that. Clinton McDonald on the defensive line, I think underrated for what he did on the defensive line. Will, what is your view on losing McDonald?
Well, I liked what he brought, definitely. I mean, we had our little comparison on our last show, I think.
We did.
Would you rather keep McDonald or McDaniel? I voted for McDonald, so of course the team kept McDaniel. But I think
either one.
I think we have some young talent on there, some young pass rushing talent. I'm really looking forward to seeing if Jordan Hill can step up and really play a big role this year.
Yeah,
I think Clinton McDonald's going to be good. I'm not too broken up that he left, but
what do you have? Did he have 6 sacks, something like that?
Yeah, not bad for a guy who wasn't even with the team at the start of the year.
Yeah,
absolutely, and was on the team and then let go and then back on the team, right? What about Jesse Williams too? I mean, that's another guy that didn't get on the field last year. That's supposed to be so amazing. Defensive lineman, draft pick. I think was he hurt? I believe he was hurt, wasn't he?
I don't remember.
IR with a knee injury.
I
Yeah,
do believe
right.
he was on IR. Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, there's another guy. So I think overall, I think what we're saying about this loss of these guys is that we've lost them, but I think we can replace them. I think we're okay as a team. As a team, I think you have to expect this as a Super Bowl team.
Do you think if we hadn't assigned Bennett, because obviously talking about who've lost, but if we hadn't assigned Bennett, then what do you think then? Would that have been a disaster?
It wouldn't have been good.
No.
There
would have been a hole. I mean, you wouldn't have obviously just a replacement right there for him. It would have been something we would have had to fix, and we probably wouldn't have gotten a guy as good. But the one thing I'm looking forward to in 2014 is we're finally going to see the 2013 draft class.
Yes.
Yes.
You're right. Do you think they would have gone after McDonald a little bit heavier if Bennett had gone?
They had to bring somebody back.
Yeah.
Well, definitely they would have if Bennett had signed somewhere right away. If it had been a first day signing, I don't think McDonald goes anywhere. If they were still negotiating with him, they might not have. Who knows? Fortunately, we'll never know.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. And we do know this.
Holy shit, it's halftime.
We know that we are at the end of the second quarter. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to get ready to interview our guest of the 12th Fan View, Chuck. And we're going to take a quick little identification. But before we do that, we would like to go ahead and pay our final respects for the Seahawk players that have left us since the Super Bowl.
Hey, this is Matt, all the way from merry old England, and you're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam.
Next, the 12th Man Fan Jam presents another interview with Moses.
Thank you, Matt. Of course, this halftime interview is a live interview with our special guest for this show, the man who gives us our 12th Fan View on Seahawks.com. You know him as Psycho Babbler on some sites. We know him as Chuck. Chuck, thanks again for joining us on the show. We appreciate you being here.
Hey, no problem, man. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
I've
always wanted to say that.
Hey, it's really great to be here. So, Chuck, we want to know a little bit about the 12th Fan View. We want to take this part of the show and just kind of focus on you and what you do for so many fans around the world who can't be at home Seahawk games. You video these games from your seat, the outside experience, the inside experience. How did this start? How did you start with this idea?
Well, it started, believe it or not, almost 10 years ago. I had a really good weekend at the casino one weekend, and so I always wanted a video camera, so I bought one, right? Mm-hmm. And they started to get pretty small by the mid-2000s. So this one I could sneak into the game if I wanted to. So I figured I'd give it a try and see what I could shoot with it. And eventually what happened was I started shooting the whole game. Because what happened was I would shoot a play. Okay, you might get a decent play, you might not. Chances are you're probably not. So I figured the only way I was going to get a good play is to start shooting the whole thing. And then I started saying, well, I should start editing these together. And eventually that's basically evolved into what's out there now.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I know so many people from around the world watch him. I watch him with my son. My son has never been to his own Seahawk game here in Indiana. You're able to share that experience with people around the world that can't be at the game. It's just amazing. How many hours does it take you to splice all that together for an episode for a typical game, a regular game?
Oh, it takes me a good, I'd say 30 hours of straight work. Although this last year I started taking Monday off work to make the videos too. So I would have to say 35 hours in 3 days.
Wow. That's amazing. It's just amazing.
I go balls out on Monday, and on Sunday when I get home, I got to transfer it from the camera to the computer, blah, 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 all this technical yak.
Yeah.
But it takes me a good 3 days to get the whole thing edited down to where I can send it on to the Seahawks.
Wow. Amazing. And you send it on to them, and then they put it on their board. Is that how that works?
Yeah, pretty much. I'd send it to a guy. I send it to a guy over there on a cloud server somewhere, and then he downloads it, and there you go.
Fantastic. Now, you've been officially on that site with the Seahawks.com for how long now?
I've completed 2 years on Seahawks.com.
To you, what's the best part about making these videos?
The best part is having contact with all the people around the world. Like you say, like this last week, I got a guy from Italy getting a hold of me who just absolutely loves and wanted to come out to a Seahawk game. But, of course, he's in Italy, so it's very difficult, But he just has it's great hearing from all these people around the world and to know that I can positively affect their day somehow by making them laugh and enjoy the game a little bit. That's crazy. That's awesome. Yeah. Somebody halfway around the world. It's crazy.
It is very, very awesome. And I know so many people around the world always talk about seeing your videos. And like I said, my son feels like he's been to a game now. He's never been because we're 3,000 miles away. But he feels like with your videos, you really put the people that watch your videos, you make them part of the whole experience. And what I like about your videos, Chuck, it's not just the game. It's you walking to the stadium. It's you on the ferry. It's the background. It's the tailgating. It's the whole game day experience. Because when I come up to a game, once a year, I go to the whole experience. I go tailgating. I go walking around, and you do too. You show everything, and that's what I love about your videos. It's not just game highlights. It's a 12th man experience from beginning to end. I think that's fantastic.
I like that. I like that description.
Yeah, well, you can use that. I'll let you borrow that.
Somebody else might have a problem with 12th man.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a Seahawk fan's experience.
That's true. I could. That's why I use 12th fan.
Yeah.
That's why that's where that came from.
Oh, that's cool. What is you is the worst part of the videos and the most tedious part, or?
Oh, it's really hard to say. The hardest thing is to actually say something meaningful in a brief and concise way, as opposed to just rambling on and on and on and on about something. Mm-hmm. Because it's very difficult. I get lost in my own thoughts so easily,
Yeah.
But there are some scenes in the series where I walk along a sidewalk for a good minute and a half talking, and that's pretty hard to do right off the top of your head and have it make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, none of that stuff is scripted. I hardly even think about what I'm going to talk about on the way to the game.
Wow.
Before I go, I just roll.
That's amazing, because the things that you say, I mean, it's so well said, and it's always well done. Just amazing that's coming off the top of your head. You
should see what ends up on the floor.
Talk about your Super Bowl experience. You got to go to the Super Bowl. What was that experience? And I know watching you watch the Super Bowl, it was amusing from the standpoint as I think you were like every fan. There's that nervousness. Yeah, we're up by 20 points, but and you're just that nervousness.
Well, by the time we were up by 20, after he ran it back, there was no doubt in my mind.
Yeah,
but
when it went 29.
Sorry for interrupting.
Oh no, it's all right. When it went 29-0, I know. But talk about your Super Bowl experience. I mean, just going to New York. watching your favorite team win a Super Bowl in front of you. What was that whole experience like?
It was very surreal, because my whole life, hey, I need to go to the Super Bowl. And that would be so awesome to go to a Super Bowl. And, it'd be really cool if my team was in it. And then to have what happened happen, it was, wow. Yeah, it was really awesome. And because I did it as part of my 50th birthday thing, the whole midlife crisis thing, that was really cool. After rooting for football for 40 years to finally cheer for a champion, that was, and to see it happen in front of you, and the way it happened.
Yes.
I mean, it was when Malcolm Smith ran the interception back. That's when I knew it was over. I was like, they ain't coming back. 22-0.
Yeah.
No, they ain't coming back from this. And then after halftime, well, yeah.
I imagine the day after waking up in New York was pretty surreal as well.
Oh yeah, we were all planning on going over to New York and checking out Ground Zero and all that stuff. We wake up and there's 6 inches of snow on the ground, 6 inches of fresh snow on the ground.
Wow.
And it was like, we'll just hang out. And my buddy bought so much stuff, he had to ship it back home. So we found a local mailbox and mailed it on home.
Oh, cool. Well, fantastic. Well, Chuck, thanks for joining us on the show this evening. And 12th Fan View can be seen on Seahawks.com. Also, you can catch up on Twitter, and you can also check them on Facebook. You can check them on internet sites around the internet world as well. Again, Chuck, thanks for joining us for the 12th Man Fan Jam halftime interview, and we'll get back to the show after this.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Welcome to the third quarter of the 12th Man Fan Jam. So once again, let us join our host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Thank you, Magic Voice, to the 12th Man Fan Jam, and welcome back from that very informative and entertaining halftime interview with 12th Fan View. Chuck.
I loved it.
It was very informative and very entertaining. I almost said very irritating. It's not that. Very entertaining. Okay. Wow. It's the off season, and we are in off season form here in the 12th Fan Jam. And if you would like to send us an email about how unbelievably weird you think this show is, here's your email message right here. You can send us to 12manfanjam@gmail.com. All right. Will and Matt and Moses are ready to take you to third quarter. We're going to talk about the people we have kept. We spent the first half lamenting over who we lost since the Super Bowl, but who's decided they want to be part of a Super Bowl winning team? Who's decided they want to re-sign or sign with the Seahawks? And here's that list. We have Bennett re-signed, Halchka re-signed, McCoy re-signed, McDaniel re-signed, and my favorite player, if you've listened to the show before, you know Matt can't wait for me to butcher the French on Lemuel Jean-Pierre.
Well done, Moses. Well done.
Mais oui.
Okay, maybe
He
not.
plays the center.
Très bien.
He hikes the ball between his legs to the quarterback.
Yeah,
goes-
skunk.
Who goes hot, and he gets the ball.
He's German now. Oh no!
I
We
hate
love
all
you,
you
Moses.
Europeans,
Oh god!
except the
Honestly.
Dutch. All right.
You know how many lawsuits?
Well, I am
you could
proud
get
to
now?
be American.
Yeah, really. If you can't be
You know-
American, then don't
You
bother.
know all those. You know all those stereotypes when they turn around and say that Americans don't even know where they are on their own globe.
Yes.
You
Pretty
people are
much.
just proving this on the airwaves right now. It's-
Okay, then please
Okay, we know
embrace
we're
all of
Francis,
us
we just can't do the accent.
and pronounce his name for us.
Le Maire Jean-Pierre.
Yeah, Jean-Pierre.
Oh, whatever.
Oh, whatever.
C'est bon. This way.
Let's
Carry
just
on.
call him Lem from now
Lem.
on.
Let's do it, Lem.
You know, who was it? The guy that played for the 49ers is now with the Colts.
Ricky Jean-Francois.
Yeah, okay, Ricky Jean-Francois, who said,
Francois, yeah.
"Call me Ricky Jean," when he was with San Francisco, because he didn't want the guys making fun of him, Ricky Jean. So he said, "Call me Ricky Jean." So at least I'm not doing that. I think I'm just going to call him Lemuel Jean from now on. Lemuel Jean Pierre.
You mentioned Jackson. Tavares Jackson is signed as well.
Oh, you know what?
Oh
I did
yeah,
not.
we can't forget T-Jack.
We can't forget
T-Jack's
T-Jack.
back. Yeah.
That's wonderful. And I was so glad that he got snaps in the Super Bowl. Wasn't that great?
Yep, good.
That was awesome.
He deserved it. And it probably ticked off the Viking fans too.
Right. And I'm not going to waste you guys asking you guys what's the biggest re-signing. Obviously, it's
Lamar
Bennett.
St. Pierre.
For you.
For me, absolutely.
Yeah.
God, I hope. Do you know what? I really hope he's a huge player next year because you've got to say his name every week. Be awesome. Come on, Lamar. Come on.
The kids would love that. And obviously, Bennett's a big signing, no doubt about it. When you lead a Super Bowl winning number one defense in sacks, you deserve to be paid as such, and he was. So I don't think any of us are going to argue what kind of impact he had last year or will have on this team. I'm just glad that his brother didn't have a big enough impact to take him to Chicago with him. Thank God for that. But, one signing of all these signings, these re-signings besides Bennett, that I was the happiest about, and I know this sounds stupid, but Steven Hauschka.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely money.
He is.
And I think he's extremely underrated. He's been underrated all year. When the offense struggled, Matt, this guy was kicking field goals and keeping us in games.
Does it, anyone on this panel and anyone anywhere that believes that we're Super Bowl champions just because of our quarterbacks and our defense and ignores entirely our place kicker is a fool.
Yes.
Because he kept us in so many games. He allowed us to win so many games. He is money. I love his backstory. I love the fact that he didn't even take it up until his roommate told him to try out for the team. I love the fact that he's genuinely surprised to be a place kicker in the NFL and earning the 9.15 million that he's just signed and the 3.35 million guaranteed. I love it. I love all of it. Hauschka for me, and I've been fortunate enough to go and see him play live in the States twice. I love him. I think he's fantastic. Great signing.
I think he's fantastic.
Well, Matt, let me tell you. I mean, you're talking about all the games that hung in the balance. I'm going to bring up just one game, the playoff game against New Orleans when we got 30-mile-per-hour winds. It's pouring rain. Everybody's just soaked to the bone and miserable. Saints kicker couldn't hit the broadside of a barn anytime he kicked. Hauschka was 3 for 3.
Solid.
It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
And I remember I put on Facebook when they said, well, he's got 9.15 million. I said, you know what? Worth every cent.
And I think an underrated part of this whole team is his kickoffs, because I think the reason why our coverage team can get down there is he either kicks it through the uprights and kicks it out so they don't return it, or he kicks it so straight up in the air at the 2 that by the time the guy catches it, our guys are already at the 10. I think some of that is our special teams playing great, and they're a great unit.
Yeah.
But some of that, I think, is the guy kicking the ball and giving enough hang time to get them down there.
When you've got speed like Lockett as well coming down that front, I mean, you know what? You could kick it on the floor and he'd still be able to take them out like he did in the Rams game. But
that's a good point.
And Hauschka's leg is getting stronger. He's getting better. He's not peaked. So, I think, what did he have? He was 33. Was it 33 or 35?
He had one
he only
block
missed
here,
2 kicks and 1 was blocked.
One blocked and 1 missed. Yeah.
Amazing.
And the miss was in the Cardinal game when nothing was going right that whole time.
Right.
The whole thing was awful.
But yeah, keeping Hauschka and keeping T-Jack too. I mean, that's also a guy who looks better than he did when he first got here.
Absolutely.
And this is a guy, if he had to step in for a couple of games, no, he's not going to be Russell Wilson, but he's a guy who won't make mistakes while the running game and the defense hopefully wins us those games. So those are two signings that, they're not huge as far as big money or big names, but I think that's for peace of mind. I think it's huge.
I mean, I always feel like I owe TJ an apology because ever since that year, his last proper full year, when we, it wasn't the best season ever, and everyone said, well, he played on when he was injured from that Giants game. Yeah, but he decided to run the ball. He didn't need to do that anyway, so
Right.
it was his own injury. And then we had clipboard Jesus for the rest of that day. But
How does he keep getting signed? Sorry, just
I
an aside.
don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's
his hair. It's his hair.
That's gotta be.
I mean, where has he gone now? Where's his landing destination?
Tennessee, I think. 2
Has he?
years, up to $8 million. Yeah,
$8
crazy.
million? Why the hell would you pay $8 million for that?
$8 million, yeah.
Oh, okay. But no, I just to say, I do think I owe Teacher apology. I did rip him badly. He did leave, and he has come back, and he is a good player, and I'm very sorry.
Oh, I ripped him. I ripped him too. And my argument that year was this. My argument was 6 times that year. 6 times we had the ball in the fourth quarter, trailing by a touchdown or less, and he failed to score 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we were 0-6 in those games.
He's not going to win games for you, but he can come in and not lose games for you, which is what you want in a backup.
Absolutely.
And which is why this is the perfect place for him.
And what I said back then, as far as what I liked about him, first off, the locker room, I know they're crazy about him. He never blamed anyone but himself, and he was tough as nails. And I really liked that about him.
Yeah.
But that's as great as that is, that's not going to win you ball games necessarily.
But for $1.25 million for 1 year, I'd buy that every day.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
I think that's a great sign. And while we're talking about the re-signings, let's keep going. McCoy, tight end. I think Anthony McCoy, when we got him, he was a low draft pick because he had some supposedly issues out of USC. I think he's shown second or third round ability as a tight end. I think he was out all year last year. You put him and Miller, who re-signed. We should have mentioned that. He took a cut, I should say. You put Miller and McCoy and Wilson together, I think you got a wonderful set of tight ends there. And I think McCoy is fantastic as a receiving tight end.
Well, Matt's the expert on tight ends, so I'll defer to his judgment. But just talking about McCoy, though, he's one of those guys that really teases with his potential. I mean, you see what he can do and see what he could become. Hasn't really quite put it all together yet. So I think this season is going to be interesting to see what he can do after that injury, how he can come back, and how he mixes with Wilson and Miller. I think the talent is certainly there. Can he put it all together?
Right. Agree. And of course we have McDaniel, who re-signed. I was excited about that signing last year. I think he gives a lot of pressure up the middle of the defense. And
I'm not going to say it.
Come on.
I'm so sorry. Do you know when you try to laugh really quietly and it just doesn't work? I was still chuckling from the tight ends. Carry on.
Because I said we have a fantastic group of tight ends.
Yeah, who are and I love a good receiver. So it just gets worse every week.
Every time we talk about tight ends, it just goes right into the gutter.
Can we focus on the football, please?
Let's do that.
Football.
Can I get pressure up the middle? Is there something bad about me saying pressure up the middle? Is that a problem?
No, you just keep saying it. It's doing wonders. Okay. Carry on.
He can penetrate the line.
I love it.
McDaniel can penetrate that line. Oh, I need to get the porn music out for this.
Better as a run stuffer, though. So.
Oh, God, he went there.
You were all bad people.
Oh, my God.
I can't believe you're not mentioning the end zone.
Illegal use of hands.
Cow. This is what happens in the offseason, folks. We get a little punchy. We get a
little punchy during the regular season.
We were.
We didn't let the players go. We were busy stretching our balls.
I'd forgotten that.
Love it.
What game was that in?
That was the
stretching out balls coming.
It was crap.
Was that the Saints game?
No, that was the Saints game. That was the Saints game.
Yeah, it was a night game. I remember that. Yeah. So
it was the Monday night game against the Saints. I remember that.
Ed
Hockley, yeah.
And yes,
Ed Hockley. Just watch it. If ever you feel down, just watch it again. Just listen to the announcers go, What'd he say? Stretching our balls.
Oh,
I had
my
giggle
God.
fits for the next quarter.
Okay, here. If you wonder what we're talking about, are you ready? Are you ready? I got it queued up. Here we go. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, here it comes. All right, hold on. If you wonder what we're talking about, Ed Hockey League, Monday Night Football, Seahawks and Saints, and hopefully by some miracle I'll be able to play this as it sits
December
in
6th.
infamy. Yeah, December 6th, a day that will almost live in infamy. Well, you know what?
I met my ex on the 7th of December.
It was initially marked for completion, going to be a first down.
Here we go.
And then from the back, there is no delay of game. We didn't let the team go because we were stretching our balls.
We were stretching our balls. There's no delay game because we're stretching our balls.
That would delay my game, I have to say.
Here's your.
That's my entire game.
There is no delay of game. We didn't let the team go because we were stretching our.
I swear it sounds like he's saying scritching.
We were stretching our balls, and hey, leave us alone. He's looking at us like we have insulted him. He's looking like, hey, we were stretching our balls. Back the hell off.
We didn't let the team go because we were stretching our balls.
We were stretching our balls.
Well, carry on, Ed.
Oh, Ed Hockey League.
Don't let me stop you.
Oh,
Check out my guns.
that's probably how he gets them. Okay, wow. We did sign back to
And
football
flex.
and Seahawk football. We actually signed two guys. Will, did we not? That were not Seahawks.
Yeah, not really big signings, either one, but, potential. Taylor Price, big, fast wide receiver. I think he ran a 4.36 40 at his combine a couple of years ago, but it's been battling injuries for the last 2 years. Spent last year on Jacksonville's practice squad. And then local boy, Steven Schilling, lineman from played with San Diego for a couple of years. Another guy who's probably going to fight to be our backup swing guard tackle, whatnot. But, gives us some offensive line depth. So Price, actually, if he can stay healthy, I'm kind of interested to see what he can do. Because, we want the big receiver. We want a big, fast guy. So, hey,
Yeah.
he's at the right price. Why not?
Again, competition. That's the name of the game. Chuck, we mentioned a list of the re-signings, and I won't go through it again because Matt makes fun of my French accent. So between Bennett, obviously, but we talked about Houchka, McCoy, McDaniel, and T-Jack all being really important re-signings. Which one of those do you think was the most important out of Houchka, McCoy, McDaniel, and T-Jack?
Thinking about it.
Thinking. Chuck, are you there? Chuck, come back. No! Oh, sorry.
Hello.
Chuck,
I have
are you
no
on?
idea who's more important.
Oh, hey, there it is.
There it is.
You have no idea, Chuck?
I really don't worry too much about the moves in the offseason because they're going to get made whether I worry about them or not. So I don't get all worked up about it.
So are you saying that all you're saying is give Pete a chance? Is that what you're saying, Chuck?
When he gives me a reason to dislike the moves that he makes, I will dislike them. And everything he's done so far has turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
Can't complain about that, can you?
You won't be hearing me complain about it anytime soon.
No, me either. I agree. I totally agree. And I think that's
He
a
does
good
his
time.
complaining in private.
He does. Around tight ends and at hockey, but he's stretching his balls. And
Into the end zone.
Oh! And on that note,
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
we are at the end of the third quarter. So we're going to take a quick station identification. Come back. We're going to talk about the future of free agency here in the Seahawk football. And we're going to talk about one guy in particular who maybe he's going to be a Seahawk. Maybe he's not going to be a Seahawk. We'll find out. Let's talk about that after this quick break.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
We are absolutely sure that this song is going to be in the loudest stadium in the world. Come on, guys. It's got to happen. It's got to happen when he walks on the field.
And now, it's time for the fourth quarter of the 12th Man Fan Jam. Here to lead us through the final quarter is once again our host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Magic Voice of the 12th Man Fan Jam. Welcome to the fourth quarter and final quarter of this special March Madness edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam, and also the Lucy Gray edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam. If you're just joining us, Will's 16-year-old cat passed away. This is his first time doing the show without Lucy Gray around. We want to pay some respects to Lucy Gray. So this show is dedicated to Lucy Gray. And also, if you noticed at the beginning of the show, I put up a special plaque dedicating this also to, not dedicating the show, but just kind of sending our thoughts and prayers out to those who were affected by the Como helicopter disaster that happened just a couple days ago in Seattle as well. But it's been a far from sombering experience here on the 12th Man Fan Jam. We've had a lot of fun this evening. Of course, Will, our newsman, is here, our news hound. Matt is here from merry old England. And of course, we have our special guest from the 12th Fan View, Chuck. Chuck, how you holding up out there?
Oh, I'm doing just great, man. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. How you doing?
How you doing?
Yeah, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
How
Like
you
Sal's
doing?
back. It's like Sal's back.
You gonna talk about the Seahawks or what?
It's funny. That's what they
You
sounded
don't do
like
that
when
accent
I was
any
out
better,
there.
Moses.
Oh, that's right. You were out there, and we heard about your experience at the Super Bowl at halftime. It's very interesting.
Yes.
Yes, it was. Okay,
We did?
fourth quarter.
Oh yeah, we did.
We did.
Come
yeah.
on.
Fourth quarter, we're gonna talk about free agents that are still out there, and one in particular. If there's a free agent heaven and a free agent hell, apparently we found a player in free agent purgatory because he's not quite in either one yet, and that's defensive end Jared Allen of the Vikings. Now,
Hey, did you hear Jared Allen sign with the Seahawks?
oh my God, here we go.
Thank you, Ed Werder.
Yeah. I'm going to tell my side of the story, and then I'll
Come
let
on.
you guys kind of tell your side. But
Actually, before you do that, Moses, let me just say what I saw, and then you can explain what you did. So
Okay.
I got a message on my Facebook from Moses, which said that he was as happy as he's ever been ever in his life, or words to this effect. He's never been happier. We'd signed Jared
now,
Allen.
wait a minute. I have two kids. Let's not say this is the happiest moment of my life.
Do you want me to read your Facebook?
Okay, this is really the
I'm
happiest
very, very
moment
happy.
of your life.
Do you want me to read? Do you want me to read? I am happy. ... Very happy.
Okay, that's not the happiest day of my life. I'm happy.
Almost. It's getting there.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
It's, we Twitter positivity, and then he's linking to his tweet because obviously he's gone worldwide with this news.
Because I
So my
fainted.
favorite non-Seahawk, Jared Allen, 69, is now a Seahawk. Faints.
Because I
20
had
minutes-
said, and let me
20
say
minutes later,
wait,
he
a
was
couple
not a
days
Seahawk.
before that, I had said on my Twitter, I'm trying to control my excitement about my favorite non-Seahawk becoming a Seahawk. I may faint if he signs. See how that worked?
Yeah, but you did faint and he didn't sign.
I know. Thanks for bringing that
Well,
up.
he never said he wouldn't faint if he didn't sign. I mean, come on.
And I got news for Will because Will, you're the first person that I saw say that he wasn't signing, but I'll get to that in a minute.
Go on.
Jared-
Well, sorry to bum
Go
you
on.
out.
That's okay.
Go on.
Jared Allen is my favorite non-Seahawk. And if you want to know why, I'll tell you in a few moments. But Jared Allen is one of my favorite non-Seahawks. I think the guy's hysterical. I think he's a great player, yes. But I think he's also really, really a funny guy. And I saw his interview when we played them this year, and he was talking about how Percy Harvin, oh my God, if I was on a team that, got rid of me and my first game back is against that team, I'd kick their ass too, is what he basically said. I mean, he's very funny, very upfront, very honest, and I like that. So he's one of my favorite guys. He is actually my favorite non-Seahawk. And I have a friend who's a Viking fan. And so I get home from work and my phone rings and it's him. This guy never calls me. We text back and forth, but it's one of those people you don't ever call, you just text. And he said, turn on ESPN right now. And I said, don't tell me that it's happened. He said, just turn on ESPN. And he's really happy for us because he kind of likes the Seahawks, and of course the Vikings are going into the crapper. So, and he says, turn on ESPN. So I turn it on, and there in big bold letters says, Allen signs with the Seahawks. That's what it said on ESPN. I'm excited. That's when I started doing all the Twitter stuff and the Facebook stuff. Got excited. They're on. My son comes home. I'm like, dude, we signed Jared Allen. We're high-fiving. We're dancing around. I got a friend from Indiana texting me going, oh, my God, our defense is actually better than it was last year now with Jared Allen. And we're talking about how excited we are. And then Will puts on his Facebook. Our very own Will, our news hound, Shadowhawk, says, hold everything. He hasn't signed anything. And you know, Will, if we were within arm's reach, I probably would have reached out and smacked you, my man. Because that bothered me. That's okay, but then I thought, well, that's the worst part. I thought, come on, Will. And then pretty soon I start seeing, no, he hasn't signed. No, he hasn't signed. And I realized that Will was right. And then I probably would have had to apologize for smacking you upside the head because I would have smacked you and gone, oh, well. Will has changed his name to Buzzkill. Buzzkill Harrison struck again. And, but the thing is, Will, you were your first one that was right about that. So Jared Allen, should he stay or should he go? Will, what was your view on the whole Jared Allen thing?
Oh, it's frustrating, of course. I mean, you see reports saying, oh, working on the final details of a deal. Oh, he's signed. Oh, they've reached agreement. Oh, well, no, he didn't. My thoughts on the Jared Allen thing is like, yeah, I want to bring him in if we can bring him in on a good deal. I don't want to give him anything like what DeMarcus Ware paid. If we can get him for a good deal, fine. If not, okay, we use that money and hopefully throw it into new contracts for Thomas and Sherman. But it's frustrating. It's hard to wait. It's hard to imagine the guy came 2 times in 1 week, bringing his wife with him the second time, and didn't sign. It's like, okay, what's going on? But as objectively as I can, I like the fact that the guy is taking his time, making a decision that's right for him and his family. And hopefully, once he thinks it all out, he'll reach the conclusion that he wants to be in Seattle.
I hope so too. Chuck, are you worried about overpaying for him? Are you worried about overpaying him?
Me? I ain't worried about overpaying him. No, my ticket price went up $11 though, so it's gonna go somewhere.
You too, huh?
Oh yeah, that's a 20% increase, man.
But the thing about
downside to winning a Super Bowl,
this money that we have right now, that everyone's saying we should save it for the big guys, and I understand that, and I agree with that. But can't we sign him to a deal, and then after this year, either cut him or release him, or can we use that money now and then not use it next year?
I mean, could you not theoretically sign him to a 1-year contract for $8 million or $10 million?
Yeah, right.
Guaranteed the lot.
Right. Which is what we did last year with Bennett, and Averill signed a 2-year deal. But a lot of guys we had, McDaniel and Bennett, came in on 1-year deals.
Well, sure we can. I'm not saying signing Allen means we can't extend those guys. It's just every move we make this offseason and next offseason, we gotta keep an eye on our big contracts coming up.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, hey, keep your eye on the ball, not just with the one player. And this team's done a good job of that. They haven't thrown money around indiscriminately.
No.
They've done it well. It's just something that they got to keep in mind.
And I think that's why there's probably kind of a little bit of a stalemate, if there is a stalemate between Allen and the Seahawks, because I'm sure he's not. If he was getting the money he thought he deserved, he would have signed. But I think he wants to play, and I flat out asked my wife. I said, okay, I'm a 32-year-old football player. I'm not over the hill yet by any stretch of the imagination. I have the chance to retire or, play for a Super Bowl winning team. First off, she looked at me and laughed and said, yeah, whatever. But then when I actually pushed her on it, she said, well, I think you got to do what you want to do. And I don't think he wants to retire. I think he loves playing football. And I don't think 32's washed up for a defensive end. I'm sorry. especially a guy that had 11.5 sacks.
Oh, no, not at all.
As my friend who's a diehard Viking fan told me, dude, he was getting double teamed on a bad defense and he got 11.5 sacks. He has your defensive backfield. He has your defensive line. He's going to get maybe double that with that kind of coverage.
oh, sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Well, yeah, I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, I think he definitely wants to keep playing football, and I think he wants to play football here. I think he was hoping for a bit more money than we offered, and he's just trying to weigh his options.
As you say, he's not getting any younger, and he's got to make maximum value for all the time that he's got left to play football. So you wouldn't expect him to want. I mean, I think he wanted the same as Mark. Was it 30 million over 3 years or something? I don't think he's going to get that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get that. But again, I think back to what Moses said at the beginning. I think we're more likely to say to him, okay, well, look, you're not prepared to take the other deals, but we'll pay you 8 million or whatever for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 15 million cap space. So
and it's kind of all come full circle because as we talked about the ones that left us, the guys that have a Super Bowl ring now that played a part of that team winning the Super Bowl. People are saying, well, Golden Tate made $6 million out in Detroit. Yeah, maybe they overpaid, but he's getting what he can get. I hate to see people hate on these players that go out and get this money.
Well, hold on. Just with Golden, what I would say about Golden Tate is that you've got to be really careful with fan bases because you can't appeal to a fan base and say, I want to take a discount, I want to stay here, I want to be with you guys, I think it's fantastic, and then not actually appear to want to take any discount at all, because that's what it felt like. Yeah. And the only thing I also would caution with some of these players is be careful the bridges you burn today aren't the bridges you have to recross in the future, because look at Josh Brown. I mean, if you're gonna burn a fan base, a particularly loyal and fanatical fan base like the 12s, just be a little bit careful because you're never sure when you're going to cross paths with them again.
Very true.
Yeah, I have no doubt that there were some idiots saying stupid stuff on Twitter, because if it wasn't for idiots saying stupid stuff, there wouldn't be a Twitter. I mean,
I'll amen to that.
But there's idiots in every fan base, and I think a lot of Seahawk fans heard his line about hometown discount and thought, oh, great, Golden Tate's going to be here. Let's go get these other guys. And I think it hit them harder as a result when Tate ended up leaving. Yeah, so I don't blame Tate for going for the money. I mean, hell, you need to pay me $6 million to go to Detroit. I got to be honest, but don't go complaining about the fans when it's just a handful of idiots.
Yeah,
right. And then to go on the radio show in Seattle, 2 weeks after the fact? I mean,
it was pretty funny. I was listening to that actually.
Yeah,
when it was live. And I was just sitting there going, oh, man, you're whining about the fans whining. Come on.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, I mean, the way I felt was kind of like this.
Oh, my God, who the hell cares?
I mean, you're a lion now. Can we move on?
Look, you know what grinds my gears?
Yeah, right. I mean, come on, man. It's been 2 weeks. Get over this and go do your Detroit thing. You're a lion now. Best wishes. Go have fun.
Well, you can quit calling us now.
Yeah, exactly. We broke up. Stop calling us.
I've thought for a while, Golden Tate, great athlete, good receiver, has the potential to be a great receiver. Still needs to grow up just a little bit.
Grow up just a little bit, yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I like to close the show this evening with a couple of quotes from Jared Allen, if I may, because he's kind of a hot topic. And these are some quotes. This is one of the reasons that I like this guy. These are
$5 foot long.
This is a couple of quotes
from
Jared Allen. No,
and hopefully by the time everybody hears this, he will be a Seahawk.
Yes, at this point we are recording. He is unsigned. We're entering the weekend where he said the decision will be made. So here's some quotes I found online about Jared Allen that he actually said, speaking about whether or not the Vikings locker room is experiencing a schism, he said the following: I don't know where this came from. Like I said, I don't think anybody on this team even knows what schism is, let alone could use it in a sentence. I thought it was an STD when I first heard it, and I was like, whoa, we preach abstinence around these parts.
I love it.
Jared Allen on his off-season mindset. You know, I really don't think of football that much. I wouldn't say it's on the back burner, but probably more on the middle burner. You know that little burner that you only use when you get family over and you're cooking a big batch of pancakes? Yeah, that one probably. Allen on the mullet. We all know the mullet, right? The mullet hairstyle. The mullet isn't just a hairdo, it's a lifestyle. You carry it on like a legacy, like your last name, you know? The people that did that in the 80s, they weren't doing it because they thought it was a cool hairdo. No, they were doing it because they were badass. You know, if someone asks if you want extra mayonnaise, you have to say yes, because that's part of it. If the easy way to walk around something, you walk through it. This is bringing back like the Paul Bunyan. Men, we don't shave our legs. We have chest hair, even if it's shaped like a heart, which is pretty tight. That's the whole lifestyle of the mullet. I approach you from the front, and you're kind of like, wow, this dude's pretty serious. Then I walk away from you, and I'm like, damn, he likes to party with 2 R's.
I hadn't heard those. That was awesome.
Oh, this guy's awesome. And then finally, about being on the cover of Madden 11. If I make the cover, I'm going to have to straighten my mullet and make it as trashy as possible. You have to highlight tools that got you there.
Dance with the one that brought you.
That's it. Go ahead, Chuck.
I can't wait to see when he gets bald and he's got a skullet.
I don't think we'll ever see him bald. I think we will see him with the fake hair. He would rather wear a really bad hairpiece than go bald.
Hairpiece?
Oh, yeah. He'll be one of those guys, you know, the hair club for men. That'll
spray
be
on
good.
hair.
Yeah.
He's not just a member. He's the club president.
He is, and we'd like to thank you for joining our club for this edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam. It is
your segues are getting better.
It went awesome. My segues are improving. Was this fun or what? Was it?
Try it with an accent next time.
I love it.
Woo.
I love it.
Informational, educational. What did we learn this week on this episode? Not just this week, but this off-season March episode of the 12th Man Fan Jam. We learned that Moses will never ever be able to be a French spy. we learned that we have a fantastic group of tight ends.
We do.
And we learned that Ed Hockley likes to stretch his balls in the middle of football games. So,
don't we all?
Don't we all? For the Newshound Will, for my partner in crime Matt, for 12th fan view Chuck, and especially for Lucy Gray. Our dear departed Lucy Gray, this is your self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church Seahawk Positivity. Thank you so much for joining us on this very special March edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam. And thank you for making us part of your off-season with the Seattle Seahawks. We look forward to helping you waste over an hour of your life. The next time we all get together and talk a little Seahawk football, keep looking for that. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Go Hawks!
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks!